Today, let's talk about reading in English. As you probably know, reading for pleasure has a number of great benefits. It exposes you to new information and helps you learn things. It relaxes you. It helps you sleep. And it helps you increase your concentration. It gives you something to do besides be on your phone that requires you to sit and focus for long periods of time. And that's really good for your concentration and for your brain. But if you're learning English, you know that reading in English is also a great way for you to improve your language. Why is that? That's because when you read in English, you are being exposed to new vocabulary and old vocabulary, meaning vocabulary that you already know. So it helps to reinforce the English that you already know, as well as expose you to new words. And it shows you a variety of grammatical structures. This is grammar that you might not hear in speaking, but these grammatical structures help you to see the ways that we use language in writing. So it exposes you to more grammar and helps to reinforce grammar that you have already learned. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about reading habits, and then I'll show you 3 books that I have read recently that I really enjoyed, and I think you might enjoy them too. Before we get into that, please give this video a like if you find it helpful. Leave a comment and note that I always leave a question below for you to use to practice in the comments or just to have a conversation with me. And subscribe if you want more videos like this one. This channel, Learn Academic English, is designed to help you level up your English. Also, I offer memberships here on my channel if you would like more connection with me every week. And I teach live online classes. If you'd like to know more, check the description box below. Okay, so let's get into reading. Last year, a couple friends of mine told me that they read 50 or even 60 books in the year. And I was shocked. I thought, how can someone who is busy, these are people who work and have kids, how can someone possibly read so much? And this got me thinking, how much time out of my day could I spend doing something different? Instead of looking at Instagram or instead of doing word games, could I take some of that time and read instead? And of course, the answer is yes. I'm a busy person. I have a very full life, but there are some times in the day that I want to relax or decompress. I could find more time to read. And lately, that's exactly what I have been doing. So my friends who read 50 or 60 books a week, they tend to read for an hour every day before bed. I'm not sure if I have that much time in my schedule, but I have been setting aside time every day for reading. And over the last several weeks, I have read about 8 books. I find that this has been really helpful for me. It gives me a relaxing routine that I look forward to. I usually get a cup of tea, I put on some comfy clothes, and I find a comfortable, cozy place to read. And I just find that it's a great way for me to decompress. Also, I've really enjoyed the information that I've been learning from these books. That has been a great way for me to enhance my life. And most importantly, it helps me sleep. I find that when I read before bed, I fall asleep faster and I tend to worry less. My reading habits are usually like this. I always have more than one book that I'm reading at a time, and that's just how I am. I usually do a lot of different things at the same time. So in my reading routine, I have one fiction book, one nonfiction, and one audiobook. And the audiobook might be fiction or nonfiction, it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's get into those 3 books that I read recently that I enjoyed. And all of these books were on the lists of the best books of the year in either 2022 or 2023. The first one is this book called The Wager by David Grann. David Grann is the same author who wrote the book The Lost City of Z, which I really enjoyed, and Killers of the Flower Moon, which I did not read, but I saw the movie and I thought it was fascinating. This book is a true story about a ship that left the United Kingdom in the 1740s and was trying to go around South America to attack Spanish ships on the west coast of South America. But because the route at the southern end of South America is so dangerous, the ship shipwrecked and a mutiny began. So let me explain what the word mutiny is. Mutiny means an open rebellion against the proper authorities, especially soldiers or sailors in rebellion against their officers. So this group of men who survived the months that they were at sea were shipwrecked off the coast of southern Chile. And the climate there is really awful. It's really windy and really cold. And they basically had no food, and they started arguing with each other. After several weeks or months, they decided to leave because they knew that they were going to die. So what happened after that shipwreck was really interesting, because there were basically two groups of men who ended up escaping, but they came up with different stories about what happened, and nobody knew exactly what the truth was. I really enjoyed this book because I had no idea what life was like for sailors at that time, and I learned that life on these ships was really difficult. And of course, being shipwrecked, it was like a mystery what was going to happen next. But I would say that this book is a pretty difficult read. There's a lot of advanced vocabulary. The book is fairly long. But if you're looking for something advanced to read, and if you think you might enjoy this slice of history, I would really recommend it. It was an excellent book. The next book that I read is called The Escape Artist by Jonathan Friedland. This is a true story about a young man, he was 19, who escaped from Auschwitz. Auschwitz is the notorious death camp or concentration camp located in southern Poland during the Holocaust of World War II. So this young man lived in Auschwitz for 3 years, and after that he finally was able to escape, which is something that was unheard of at Auschwitz. And the reason that he escaped was so that he could warn the world about what was really going on. Unfortunately, most of his warnings fell on deaf ears. But I found this story inspiring, the fact that he wanted to escape to warn the world and potentially help others. This book is what we call a difficult read in English. A difficult read here doesn't mean that the book itself is hard. In fact, the book is not hard to read. The language is not difficult. What is difficult is the subject matter. There's a lot of detail, a lot of gory and very sad detail about what happened at Auschwitz. So you should be warned about that. But I found it really inspiring that this young man shared his story about what happened. And the third book I'm going to share with you today is called How to Say Babylon by Sophia Sinclair. This is a fairly new book, and it's been getting a lot of buzz lately. It's nonfiction, and it's a memoir. A memoir is a book that is written by the author telling the story of his or her life. So in this book, she tells the story of her childhood and young adulthood. She grew up in a very strict Rastafari family in Jamaica. But as she gets older, she finds the courage to break free from her father's strict beliefs and to lead her life the way that she wanted to. The writing itself is not difficult to read. It's not very advanced, but she is a poet, and that means that her language is very vivid. It's full of really beautiful details and vivid vocabulary, and she has a poetic writing style. I found that this writing style really helped her story to shine, and I think that you will find that it's very absorbing and attractive too. So those are the 3 books that I read recently that I really enjoyed. All of these happen to be nonfiction, but I do read fiction too. I would love to know what books you've read recently that you enjoyed, and if you've ever heard of these books or if you think any of them sound interesting to you. I will leave the links to all of these books in the box below in case you would like to learn more information about them or purchase one. Don't forget that you can also use your public library or shop at an independent bookstore. I hope to see you back here again soon, and take care.